Seven 415. 15. Miami showed me at 3 and 12, completing my report there. Okay, so just verify the first 5 feet you got. So, Avenue. No, you're cutting out. I'm just in southwest, and you cut out. Southwest 23 Avenue. Okay, so 23 Avenue, okay. Anyway, 21 11. There's something at 813 at the station. Case number is at 1508-31-259-428. Yes, sir. 12:15.
All right. Looks like we're good to go.
Yeah, 553. So, 553, just. Take me on the 39, you're ready for the case number. Alrighty, QT, you want to use? I'm currently on Grand Elizabeth, and I think the reference report number 250813-005-0097. Case number 554-15. Yes, 12:15. Yes, sir. We're out to Central, 1 Black Female, 7 mileage, 9374. Yes, I'm on Central with 1 at 12:15. Yes, sir.
I mean, you can also have a rescue. Gentleman is longer hospital. They feel better.
Yes, so rescue at 310. So 313, show me route to TGK. We're on TGK at 1300 mile.
Can we do it, Papa?
Yes, okay.
Can you show me 1309 per unit 3310?
Yes, sir. 1300 mile. Yeah, Papa Mike. Make it a 17. It's on 37 and 14 Northwest 37 Avenue, Northwest 14th Street. White Tesla, silver Volkswagen, or red Nissan. There's no injuries. At 1301, 23 line Papa.
Just off of the last.
321.
$7109, Papa.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll take the 17 light cooling.
Yes, sir. Showing around. 73 on Papa, you can disregard also. I'll show you service.
Here's our banking to the unit.
Thank you, unit 1302.
7613, you're right.
1302, man.
Seven one one three.
Yes, ma'am.
Marvin, do you have a 17 on 37 Avenue just south of Northwest 14 Court?
Yep.
14th Street, KSL 71 on that Papa Zero.
QSL, man.
1302.
What's going on, peeps? How's everybody doing out there? Hey, Becca. Yeah, that was Corway I was on. I'm just figured I'd go live here, listen to the radio for a little while. I gotta drive through the city here for a second. I'm making my way north to Opelika this beautiful Thursday afternoon. It's
74.
74.
it's hot.
Can you show me on 910 South Station?
1302.
Good afternoon, good afternoon. Welcome back, El Marino. So I just got to make my way up north today, and I figured I'd get online. It's been a few days. I think the last time we went live was on the 8th. So 5 days or so.
7113.
A lot of stuff been going on.
Yes, ma'am.
It was a busy day on.
No fire rescues needed here. It's going to be 3 vehicles. One of them is going to be a white Tesla.
It was a busy day on Monday.
9 Foxtrot Zulu. Second vehicle is going to be a Volkswagen T1. Road tag Romeo Hotel Echo Yankee 56.
Some dude just shot himself in the hand in channel
Quebec Zulu 16.
on channel
We're
3.
going to sit here and wait on the unit. Yourself?
Turns out it was a accident.
KSL 1305.
Initially came out as a 344.
15, and I'll show you on 9. You clear for a call, you're still another 34 with 12.
Units arrived, and turns out it was an accident. That's gotta suck, shooting yourself in your own hand. Jared, what's going on? I'm doing good, man. Thank you for asking. I'm feeling great. Just standard medical procedure.
So close by, I have 13 at 304.
Nothing
15th Street.
nothing crazy.
Northwest 15th Street. It's going to be a Mercedes Sprinter van to set off an SOS. There's no other description, no callback number, no other information. Yes. 71.
So anyway, I'm driving up north today. I figured I'd get on for a little bit. Figured I'd be stuck in traffic. We could talk, you know, chat back and forth. If there's anything that you listen to, any highlights that you listen to on the radio this week, since last time we were on. That we could discuss them. There was a few things that happened on. I can't even remember what it was on Monday, but it was a lot of stuff. There was I can't remember if it was Monday or Tuesday, but on 10th Avenue and 4th Street on Channel 5, there was a double homicide. Somebody apparently got out of a silver gray or bluish gray Honda Ridgeline and just shot two people. One of them was pronounced 45 on the scene, and the other one was pronounced 45, I believe, later at the hospital. It made the news. Somebody told me about the story, but I haven't actually read the whole story, so I don't know the details on it. I think that happened on Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken. That was a pretty big deal. I had that area roped off, and crime scene was there. Detectives. I mean, if we're honest, it's probably gangland, or drug related or something like that. Most of those types of shootings are, unless it's like a domestic case or something. But yeah, that one was pretty bad. Yeah, I was listening to it too. I mean, there wasn't much to listen to after the initial call out, Once everybody gets there and the scene is secured and they rope it off, there's very little traffic, except for the bolos and stuff that were coming out. But initially they thought it was a Chevy Avalanche, like a light blue color Chevy Avalanche. It turns out that it was an older model Honda Ridgeline, silver, bluish silver or something like that in color. And then I was informed by somebody today, just kind of randomly, if I had heard about this incident, and they told me that the one that was transported to JMH actually succumbed to his injuries. He was shot in the leg. Getting shot in the leg, people say that, shoot him in the leg, or, isn't it safer to just shoot somebody in the leg instead of center mass? I mean, it depends, You have a humongous artery, running through your leg, the femoral artery, I think it's called. And if they hit you in that artery, and they don't apply a tourniquet fast enough, you're gonna lose a spectacular amount of blood. I mean, it's getting shot in the leg isn't safe. Well, getting shot anywhere isn't safe, but definitely not the inner thigh or anywhere near that artery. Let's see. Jared says Tuesday and Monday have had the wax call online, please. I don't understand, Jared. Use your words, bro.
Commodore, you got 0716 and show 12 on it.
Yes, ma'am. 15, yes, sir.
Let's switch to Central. See what's going on there. Man, this gimbal, the gimbal that I have the camera mounted on, is really funny. It doesn't like going like highway speeds. Highway speeds confuse this thing. I guess something to do with G-forces. Oh, that's right, Jared, the pizza call. Holy moly. Yeah, that's how did I forget about that one? Yeah, that pizza call was crazy, dude. So anybody listening who's not aware of the pizza call, apparently somebody placed an order. So you've heard that or most of you, some of you, I guess, have heard that, you know, people call 911 when they've been kidnapped or when they feel unsafe and they can't really speak freely. You know, they can't say, you know, what they want to say to 911 to the operator. So they'll pretend like they're ordering a pizza, right? So they'll call 911 and then they'll say, yeah, I'd like to order a pizza. You know, I think pepperoni pizza means that you've been kidnapped. Or anyway, dispatch and the operators are kind of trained on this, you know, or versed on this after it became a thing several years ago. But this was different. This particular call was someone placed an order, a web order. I'm not sure if it was on the website or from the app, to a Domino's, I believe. And in the notes of the order, they put that they were being held hostage, or they were being sequestered, or, you know, otherwise being held against their will in a bathroom by the boyfriend or the husband or something like that. So the Domino's Pizza got the order, and then one of the employees from Domino's Pizza contacted the police, and they were dispatched to, you know, an address on 37th Avenue. I think it was like the 1500 block of 37th Avenue, in some apartment building. A big deal. I mean, they dispatched a whole bunch of units. They brought the shield. If I'm not mistaken, they were staging SWAT. You know, surrounding the building. And they contacted the key holder. The key holder, for those that you don't know, is the person that's you know, that's supposed to like be the renter in the apartment. So as it turns out, this renter had just rented this apartment, so it was empty previously, or had just moved in or something like that. But the key holder was not at the location. So the building staff was able to get in contact with the key holder, and they said, no, I'm not there, but I'm on my way. And they showed up 15-20 minutes later, and then we didn't hear anything else about it. You know, they slowed the call, they cleared the air, and then they started talking about, you know, just the regular calls, like if this never happened. So the assumption, you know, among us that were listening, is that you know, that the call was a swatting call, or some type of a prank call, which has been happening quite a bit lately. If you guys have been listening and paying attention, we were railing about this a couple weeks ago. The Walgreens calls, you know, the 3 or 4, you know, calls per day that City of Miami Police was getting to a Walgreens on 57th Avenue and like Northwest 6, I think. But yeah, that call, that pizza call was insane. I've never quite seen anything like that. It was pretty crazy. What else happened this week? Oh, a little bit of news. The server that this all runs on, the live feeds, you know, the streams, the actual, you know, channel 1 through 7, the 24/7 streams. That server is exhibiting some power issues. So it was an issue with it yesterday, I believe, that alerts weren't going out. That was unrelated, I think, to the power issue. But this morning, the thing was completely shut down, and it's connected to a battery backup, but apparently the battery on that battery backup has stopped working. It's just not holding a charge, so I'm gonna have to replace that. I'm actually looking at a different way of doing it, getting a much higher capacity battery and something that I can attach a conditioner to, so that I can at least extend the life of the battery, because as it's going right now, these batteries are lasting maybe a year, and they're not, I mean, they're not uber expensive to replace, but you know, it kind of sucks that, you know, I mean, in a year you might lose power once, you know, so it kind of sucks that you have them for a year, and then, you know, you lose power one time, they serve their purpose one time, and then after that you have to replace them, you know, and they're $45-50. I mean, they're not crazy expensive, but it's, you know, still $50, you know. And then the more pressing issue, I think, is that after this whole power, you know, outage thing that must have happened sometime after 3 a.m. And before 8 a.m. because the live feeds didn't automatically go up at 8 a.m. I had to fight with the server to get it to even turn on. The power supply wasn't supplying enough power, so I think we have like a double issue, you know, happening there. I may need to replace. I have an old AT power supply that's 650 watts, which I may need to replace with a newer one. So I'm looking into that. I don't know if I'm gonna just replace the power supply, or if I may as well just go ahead and replace the case for better ventilation, you know, just kind of general better performance by keeping it cooler and so on. But we're dealing with that. If it's not one thing, it's another. You know, it's hard to maintain these things and keep them going. I mean, you know, when they're running and they're automated and it's all working, it's fine. You know, it's kind of like just happening in the background there, and nobody's even paying attention to it. But when it starts breaking and failing, you know, you have to deal with it. You know, and it's not cheap. Jared asks, how many scanners are running at one time, or do we have running at one time? There's 4. The setup is not actually scanners, they're SDRs, so they're software defined radios. Basically they're you know, it's the same thing as any other scanner or radio receiver, but it receives on a broad spectrum, and then we define what to capture using software. So each one of the City of Miami districts, channel 1, which is north, channel 3 central, channel 5, which is west, and channel 7, which is south, we capture and rebroadcast every one of those channels 24/7. So there's 4, you know, there's 4 antennas, 4 receivers, 4 independent instances of the software, in this case OP25, that captures the signal and then you know, transcodes that or decodes that signal from a P25, you know, digital signal to something that we can hear, you know. I think it's 44.8 kilohertz or 48. Not sorry, 44,800 kilohertz, or 44,800 hertz. No, I'm not sure right now. I can't remember. But we basically turn that digital signal that comes through the air, and we turn it into something that software can listen to. Yeah, you know, I get that a lot. Jared says that Monday's the time. Well, I wish fire rescue as well. Yeah, I get that a lot. I get a lot of requests for different streams. Fire is kind of amongst the most requested, and I've given it some thought. You know, the problem is that the system that I'm currently using right now can't really handle. It can scantily handle the 4 channels that it's doing right now. Just bear in mind that everything happens on that one system. All of the receiving, all of the decoding, all of the delays that we have to put into the audio. Yeah, no, for sure. The situation on Monday. So Jared follows up by saying the only reason I say it is the situation on Monday. Yeah, absolutely. The fire, is kind of the perfect complement to all of this stuff. Every single time that there's some type of a serious call with police, if there's any injuries whatsoever, police are typically dispatched. And anytime that there's a combative patient, or if somebody's been shot, or if there's an accident with injuries, they kind of, both departments kind of work in conjunction with each other. It'd be great to be able to listen to all of them. The only issue is that you have, kind of like a central dispatch for fire. And I'm not too familiar with the way that fire works, because I don't really monitor it very much. I know that a lot of people do. But from what I understand, there's like a central dispatch with fire, and then that dispatch kind of dispatches to each one of the stations. So you'll have like Rescue 12, which is from Station 12, and Rescue 3, which is from Station 3. And then each one of those has some kind of like a separate, like its own separate channel. So I'd have to come up with like a matrix and see how many channels are actually involved. Because if you can't monitor what you want to, like if you can't follow the call from its origin all the way through the response, and then, transport to the hospital or something like that, or even, the air rescue, that's part of the, that's part of the equation. If you can't follow that naturally through, then what's the point, The idea would be to have it all available. By my estimation, it's probably somewhere in the range of like, 6 to 8 channels. And if that's the case, it's going to require at least 2 more servers. Maybe it can be done with 1, if it's a little bit more robust than the one that I'm currently running. But again, we're talking more computers, more hardware, more antennas, more SDRs. These SDRs are kind of on the lower end of the spectrum, and they do an okay job, but they don't do a great job. So the next ones that I set up would actually be like an air spy, or something that has a much more robust capability, that synchronizes with GPS, so that it has like a ticker to synchronize the audio, to make it clearer. So look, at the end of the day, in order for me to do something like that, you're looking at thousands of dollars in equipment, and potentially hundreds of hours, at least a couple of weeks, in time. And then the ongoing maintenance, I need more battery capacity, I need more bandwidth. At some point AT&T is gonna give me a call and be like, hey, we noticed that you're uploading 18 gigs of data a month. Can you kind of explain to us what that is, please? Because we know we're giving you unlimited service, but this is kind of weird, So the worst thing that can happen there is that they is that AT&T looks at the service and goes, nah, we're not gonna allow you to do that anymore unless you pay us more money. And then those bandwidth deals with AT&T or with any one of the providers are not really quote unquote unlimited. It's unlimited until they decide they've had enough, and then you start to get into hundreds of dollars a month, and and if you have to have backups, like maybe something from it's a lot, Jared. It's really a lot to you know, to do it. You know, I mean, look, if our community was bigger, you know, and we can actually garner the financial support to do it, I have no problem. You know, I'd have no problem doing that. You know, but this is, you know, this is like a side quest of a side quest. So it's you know, it's a lot to take on personally. You know, it's a lot of fun to listen to, but building out a more robust system is really you know, a lot of expense and a lot of time. You know, it's not just something that I can slap together. You know, but yeah, thanks for the question, Jared. I appreciate it, man. So what else is going on? What else happened this week?
24 Brown.
Hey, for those of you who follow me on X, you know, I can get quite political on there. I have, suffice to say, I have some strong opinions, political opinions. I was asked the other day why I don't kind of get into that here on these lives, and I wanna clarify. I don't think that that's I don't think that that's the direction that I want to go with this particular channel. You know, political talk. Oh! Whoa! Whoa! Dude! This guy's pissed. Rightfully so, man. Jeez Louise, did you guys see that? Damn! Wow. Wow. Yeah, Jared says I know someone that runs his scanners through StreamYard, and he has 2 devices monitoring for channels because all he does is point the devices at the scanner screen and leave. You know, that's a good point, Jared, but here's the problem. In the city of Miami, they use Motorola P25. I believe it's phase 2. And there's only a handful of scanners that will actually capture that audio and decode it properly. It's a trunked system, so the entire city runs on the same system. And in order for you to do that, you have to buy a scanner that's $700. You know, let's say on the, you know, the only one that really works is the SDS, the SDS 100, which is that scanner right there. But the issue is that these scanners, for clear voice and to make them sound right and pick up the audio, you know, 95 to 98% of the time, you need to spend $700 on each one of those scanners. You know, and yeah, you can certainly do that, but just that alone is $1,400. And then what do? You point it at the scanner. That's great. You know, you can even connect it to a computer, you know, and pick up the audio from there. But then what? How do you get the map, you know, in the background? How do you put the, you know, the little orbs on the screen? How do you get the transcripts? You know, it's just not practical. It's one way to do it, but it's an overpriced way to do it. You know, RTL STR dongles are probably like $35 each, maybe $45 each. You know, so right there you cut the costs down to, you know, and then you could set up one scanner. I guess, you know, you could set up one scanner to scan, you know, through all of Fire. But then what happens if you want to listen to just a particular channel? You know, if you don't want to hear what's happening on, you know, with Rescue 12, you want to hear what's happening with Rescue 2, you know? So yeah, scanners, using a scanner for this is a practical solution if you have one or two and you have them tuned, you know, and you can get maybe a deal on two of them, you know, maybe $500 each or something like that. But even still, you're looking at $1,000 minimum, you know. So it was never, you know, using the scanner even from the beginning was never really a practical solution for me. So yeah, what were we talking about before we saw that almost accident happen? I can't remember. I was saying something.
Yeah,
45 till Bravo arrival.
yeah, 1932, landing.
Alright guys, well, I am nearly at my destination. I gotta get off here at a client and solve some issues for them. So I am going to take care of that. Oh, this is what I wanted to say. I get uber political on X, and I don't, you know, you know, people have asked me, hey, why don't you talk about stuff like that, you know, like current events and things that's happening, you know, like with the federal government and this and that and the other. Look, political shows, political opinion shows and talking heads are a dime a dozen, you know. Everybody's got an opinion about something, and I don't want this channel to be that, you know. I rather that you know, this channel be a you know, come one, come all, everyone's welcome. You know, let's not focus on our differences and instead focus on our similarities. You know, we all live in this city. We share it. We're all interested in understanding where crime is happening and what, you know, what kind of things are going down, what, you know, what areas to avoid when something happens, and then there's the just being informed factor, you know. And I think that we can keep this channel like that. If you guys bear with me for a second, let's just go ahead and drop in an ad here. I'll be back in 30 seconds, and then we'll pick this up and sign off. But yeah, go ahead, run it, Mrs. Miami PD Scanner. For those of you who have YouTube Premium, you don't have to watch ads. Well, we're running into airport territory here, which is notoriously horrible for cell phone signal. Hey Sean, how you doing? Welcome. So with that, we've been on for about 45 minutes now, and like I said, I'm arriving at my destination soon. So I am going to take this opportunity to thank you all very, very much for tuning in. I appreciate your support. Let's keep listening to those scanners and talk again. Maybe maybe Mrs. Miami PD Scanner and I will go for a ride tonight and go live. We'll do it for a couple of hours maybe, but I don't know yet. Anyhow, thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate you watching. If you want to follow on X, it's at Miami PD Scanner. The notifications there are curated, Anything that's rated up above, above a 7.5 on a 1 to 10 scale is what you'll see there. If you want to get all of the notifications, as always, the best place to do that is on Telegram. The link to Telegram is right here in the description of this video, and also in the channel description and any of the other live videos. That's a really, really good place to follow. If you're really into this and you want to hear every beep tone, you want to see every call, you just want to be notified when there's something going on, it's great, because you just click on the link, it opens the YouTube app on your phone, it goes directly to where the beep tone happened, and it just works. It works awesome. Like Central just got a beep tone right now. I'm reading it on Telegram, and it says, "No emergency incidents reported. Communication issue noted with an open microphone. Officers acknowledge and confirm that all is clear." That's the type of stuff that you'll get on Telegram, and you'll never see that on Twitter. It may not be interesting, but it's all of it, and it happens 24/7. So it's a great resource, Telegram. If you guys want to follow on there, that's where I do it. That's what I use. That's my go-to for for getting these notifications. We also generate 30-second shorts for both YouTube and Instagram. You can watch the shorts on Instagram. On YouTube, like you watch any other shorts on YouTube. But for ease of use, I don't spend a lot of time on Instagram, but I do see the value in going on there to actually swipe through these shorts. You wake up in the morning, you want to see what happened overnight, you go to Instagram, swipe through them. You can play the audio, and if you can't play the audio, you can keep it on mute. In the description, the summary of what's going on that call is up at the top of the post, right in the video itself. So that's great. It's a great resource, and you could swipe through them real quickly. You can swipe back up, you can save them, you can like them, share them. It's really good for that purpose. And Instagram is also at Miami PD Scanner. And that's all, folks. Thank you again. Thank you for listening. And as always, see you soon.